There comes a point in every pursuit when the body feels heavy, the mind feels weary, and the heart whispers to give up. But what if I told you that very moment of exhaustion is not a signal of defeat, but a sign that victory is near? Fatigue is often misunderstood. When people feel tired, their first instinct is to believe something is wrong, that they are failing, that they are not strong enough, or that they lack what it takes to succeed. But the truth is quite the opposite. Fatigue is not a signal of weakness. It is a sign of forward motion. It is the evidence that progress is being made. Nothing grows in stillness. Muscles grow when they are stretched, minds sharpen when they are challenged, and characters strengthen when they are tested. Fatigue shows up only when you've chosen the harder road, when you've left the comfort of the ordinary and are moving towards something greater. Think about it. If you are comfortable, if you are relaxed, if everything feels easy, it usually means you are standing still. You are not pushing boundaries, you are not extending yourself, and you are not chasing anything that demands more of you. Comfort produces stillness, but fatigue is born out of motion. When the runner's legs ache after miles of effort, that pain is proof that distance has been covered. When the student feels drained after hours of deep study, that exhaustion is the evidence of learning. Fatigue does not arrive to mock you. It arrives to remind you that you are in the middle of the climb. Most people misread fatigue because it doesn't feel good. The body aches, the mind gets heavy, and the spirit whispers for relief. But look closer. If fatigue has appeared, it means you are no longer standing where you were yesterday. Something inside you has advanced, some ground has been covered, and some part of your old self has already been left behind. Fatigue means you are not who you were yesterday. You have already grown. It is important to understand that fatigue doesn't show up in the beginning. Starting something new may feel exciting, even energizing. The weariness comes later, only after consistent effort has been applied. This is why fatigue is not something to fear. It is a marker that you've been at it long enough for change to begin. It is the bridge between who you were and who you are becoming. If fatigue is present, transformation is already in motion. Consider the craftsman who works late into the night shaping wood, the artist who loses track of time refining details, or the entrepreneur who spends countless hours building a dream. They all know the taste of fatigue, yet they also know that without it there is no progress, no creation, and no achievement. Fatigue is the shadow that follows effort, and effort is the currency of success. Attention, when you feel tired, instead of asking, "Why am I exhausted?" ask, "What have I accomplished that made me this way?" Shift your perspective. See fatigue not as a wall, but as a milestone. It tells you that you are on the path, that you are engaged in something that matters, that you are doing what others often refuse to do. For while many people quit at the first signs of tiredness, those who endure it move closer and closer to the life they imagined. So the next time fatigue presses down on you, do not let it convince you to stop. Let it remind you that you are moving, you are growing, and you are progressing. Fatigue is not proof of failure, it is proof of effort, and effort is the seed from which every victory is born. The closer we get to success, the greater the resistance. This truth is seen in every field of life, whether it is the student pushing through the last chapters before an exam, the entrepreneur fighting through the final obstacles before the business takes off, or the athlete enduring the hardest stretch of training just before the competition. Resistance is nature's way of asking how much we really want the goal we claim to pursue. It is as though life itself sets up barriers at the final stage, not to keep us from winning, but to test whether our desire is stronger than our fatigue. Think about the mountain climber who has been scaling for hours. In the beginning, every step feels light, every breath is full of energy, and the excitement of the journey carries him forward. But as he draws nearer to the peak, the air thins, his muscles ache, and each step demands more strength than the one before. Why is it that the hardest struggle always comes near the summit? Because the peak was never meant for those who simply begin. It is reserved for those who endure. The same law applies to every human endeavor. When you are just starting something new, whether it is building a skill, pursuing a career, or working on a dream, the resistance feels light. Motivation is high, energy is strong, and possibilities seem endless. But as the path stretches on, distractions appear, challenges grow heavier, and doubt begins to whisper. Then, as you approach the point of real breakthrough, the resistance intensifies. It is not coincidence, it is a universal pattern. The closer you come to a goal, the more difficult it becomes. At this stage, problems feel larger, obstacles multiply, and sometimes it seems as though everything is against you. But in truth, these difficulties are not signs that you should turn back. They are signs that you are closing in on something worthwhile. Success is not handed to anyone cheaply. It demands proof of commitment. It demands a test of endurance, and resistance is that test. Many people misunderstand this stage. They see the resistance as a warning that perhaps they are on the wrong path, that maybe they were never meant to succeed, or that the dream is out of reach. But the reality is far different. Resistance is not a stop sign. It is a signal that you are moving forward. Just as the storm is strongest near the shore, resistance is fiercest when victory is within reach. Think of the runner who feels the deepest pain not at the start of the race, but in the final stretch, when the finish line is in sight. The body screams to stop, the mind tempts to quit, yet the runner who pushes forward finds the reward waiting just steps ahead. The same principle governs every pursuit in life. The toughest battles are fought in the moments just before triumph. So when resistance rises, when the obstacles appear greater than ever before, remember that this is not the time to surrender. This is the time to persist with greater determination. Every ounce of resistance you face is proof that you are close. It is proof that progress is real. It is proof that the breakthrough is near. The greater the resistance, the closer you are to success. And those who understand this truth, those who welcome the challenge instead of fearing it, are the ones who discover that beyond resistance lies the very victory they have been striving for all along. True growth is forged in discomfort, not in ease. When life feels effortless, when the path is smooth and every step comes without resistance, growth is absent. Ease may feel pleasant, but it does not change us. It does not demand more of us, and it does not call forth the untapped strength hidden within. Growth requires friction. It requires a testing of limits, a stretching of what we thought we could endure. Just as the seed must push against the heavy soil to reach the light, we too must press against difficulty to become something greater than we were. Comfort is alluring. It whispers promises of safety, rest, and ease. But comfort left unchecked becomes a trap. It dulls ambition, it weakens resolve, and it convinces us that good enough is where we should stay. Yet deep within, there is a voice that knows better. That voice reminds us that every great achievement, every meaningful transformation has been born in the fires of struggle. Muscles do not grow without strain. Minds do not sharpen without challenge. And character does not strengthen without trials that demand perseverance. Think about the strongest people you admire, those who inspire you, those who carry a depth that cannot be faked. Their strength was not given to them. It was forged in moments when quitting would have been easy. They were shaped by nights of doubt, by days of weariness, by setbacks that tested their will. And in those moments, discomfort was the sculptor. It carved resilience into their character. It pressed patience into their spirit. It hammered discipline into their actions. Ease could never have accomplished this. Ease only preserves who you are. Discomfort transforms you into who you are meant to become. In every pursuit worth chasing, there comes a point where discomfort rises like a wall. It feels immovable, solid, unyielding. Most people stop here. They retreat to comfort, telling themselves they will try again later, or that the task was not for them after all. But for those who press forward, discomfort becomes a doorway. What once felt unbearable begins to shape endurance. What once seemed impossible reveals new capacity. The pain of the moment gives way to the strength of the future. Consider the athlete who pushes through exhaustion to complete that final repetition. The body aches, the lungs burn, but each painful rep is not just building muscle, it is building mental toughness, the kind that will carry into every other part of life. Consider the student who stays with the book until the late hours of the night. The mind tires, the eyes grow heavy, but every page mastered is not only knowledge gained, it is discipline sharpened. Consider the entrepreneur who endures rejection after rejection, still choosing to try again. The sting of failure is real, but with each attempt, courage expands. Without discomfort, none of these victories are possible. It is a law written into the very fabric of life. If you wish to grow, you must leave comfort behind. Discomfort is not there to defeat you, it is there to prepare you. It is the evidence that you are moving forward, that you are touching the edges of your potential. And while the moment of discomfort feels sharp, its reward is lasting. Ease may give temporary relief, but only discomfort gives lasting transformation. So when you find yourself weary, stretched, or pressed beyond what feels bearable, remember this truth. You are in the place where growth lives. The difficulty you feel is not a punishment. It is a gift. It is the very process that is shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, and more capable. True growth does not happen in the comfort zone. It happens where discomfort demands more of you than you thought you had to give, and reveals that you had more within you all along. Most people quit just before they break through. That is one of the most enduring truths in life, and perhaps the most tragic. Every journey of growth, every pursuit of excellence, every step toward success eventually reaches a point where the weight feels unbearable, where the struggle feels endless, and where the reward seems impossibly far away. And it is in that very moment, at the edge of exhaustion and discouragement, that the majority give in. They step away thinking they were still miles from their destination, never realizing they were only inches away from the threshold of victory. The human spirit often misinterprets struggle. We believe that difficulty is a sign that we are failing, that resistance means we are not cut out for the journey. But in reality, struggle is the clearest evidence that progress is being made. If there were no obstacles, there would be no growth. If there were no fatigue, no resistance, no testing, then there would also be no triumph. The soil must resist the seed before it can grow. The muscle must tear before it can become stronger, and the individual must endure struggle before success can be realized. Why do so many people quit at this point? Because the hardest part of the journey is always the last stretch. When you begin, enthusiasm is high, energy flows easily, the vision is fresh, and the dream feels exciting. But over time, enthusiasm fades and the road lengthens. Fatigue creeps in. The results you expect do not arrive as quickly as you hoped. Doubt whispers in your mind, telling you that all your effort is wasted, that you have been foolish to keep going. That is the test. That is the barrier most never cross. They give up not because they lack potential, but because they surrendered too soon. The irony is that the point of quitting is often the exact point where the finish line is closest. Many people do not see the progress they have made because progress often happens beneath the surface before it rises into visible results. The tree grows its roots deep into the earth long before it breaks through the soil. The water boils silently at 99 degrees, and only at the last degree does it release its power as steam. So it is with our lives. The work, the sweat, the persistence, it builds unseen. And when we feel like nothing is happening, everything is happening, we just cannot see it yet. Those who endure a little longer, who push past the urge to quit, discover something the quitter never will. They discover that the greatest breakthroughs often come disguised as exhaustion, that the signal to stop is, in fact, the invitation to continue. When you feel most tired, most doubtful, most defeated, you are standing on the edge of a new level of growth. That is why persistence is the rarest quality and the most powerful. It is not the fastest runner who wins, but the one who refuses to stop. If you are weary today, if you feel tempted to abandon your pursuit, pause and reflect. Could it be that you are standing closer to success than you realize? Could it be that what you interpret as failure is simply the final test before the breakthrough? Remember this: most people quit just before they break through. But you are not most people. Stay the course, hold steady, push once more, because victory is rarely far beyond the point of greatest struggle. Endurance is the great separator between those who achieve and those who almost achieve. It is the quiet, unseen quality that determines whether effort ends in disappointment or blossoms into triumph. Many people begin with enthusiasm. They set out with passion, energy, and excitement. The first steps feel light. The vision is fresh in their minds. But as the road stretches on and challenges begin to weigh them down, enthusiasm alone cannot carry them forward. It is at that moment when endurance steps in, the ability to keep moving not because it is easy, but because it is necessary. Most people underestimate the power of endurance. They believe talent, intelligence, or opportunity alone create success. And while all these elements matter, they are incomplete without the ability to persist. History is filled with men and women who possessed brilliant minds, great ideas, and natural gifts, yet never completed their journey because they lacked the will to endure. The truth is simple. Talent will start you, but endurance will finish you. The path to any meaningful victory is not straight or smooth. It is filled with obstacles, delays, disappointments, and setbacks. These are not signs that you are failing. They are the natural conditions of progress. Life seems to test anyone who aims for something greater, demanding proof of their seriousness. This test is never taken in the beginning, when the energy is high. It comes in the middle and near the end, when the body is weary and the spirit is tempted to quit. This is why endurance matters most. It is not measured in how you start, but in whether you keep going when everything in you whispers to stop. Think about the runner approaching the final stretch of a race. Muscles burn, lungs tighten, and the body screams for relief. At that moment, the runner faces a choice: surrender to fatigue or summon the strength to finish. The champion is not the one who feels no pain. The champion is the one who keeps moving despite the pain. The same is true in every pursuit of life. Business, relationships, education, health, dreams. Each requires the ability to press forward even when you feel depleted. Endurance is not only about surviving difficulty, it is about being transformed by it. Every step taken in fatigue strengthens character. Every obstacle pushed through adds resilience. Each time you refuse to quit, you become more than who you were. The very act of enduring shapes you into someone capable of holding victory without letting it slip away. Quick success, won without effort, rarely lasts, but success forged through endurance becomes permanent, because the person who earned it has grown strong enough to sustain it. When people give up, it is rarely because the goal was impossible. Most of the time they were closer to success than they realized, but they allowed tiredness to convince them it was over. Endurance is what prevents this tragedy. It whispers to you in your weakest moment, one more step, one more try, one more day. And it is often in that one more attempt that the breakthrough arrives. Those who endure understand a profound truth. Victory is not won by the fastest or the strongest, but by the ones who refuse to stop. Every great invention, every masterpiece, every enduring achievement was born from someone who simply held on longer than others. Endurance is not glamorous. It is quiet, often lonely, and seldom praised in the moment. But when the finish line is crossed, it is endurance that receives the crown. So when fatigue comes, welcome it. Let it remind you that you are on the path of progress. Do not despise the struggle. Do not mistake weariness for weakness. Instead, see it as a signal that you are in the place where endurance is required. And if you endure, if you refuse to quit when quitting feels easiest, you will discover that endurance does more than carry you to victory. It transforms you into the kind of person who cannot be defeated. Tiredness is proof that effort is being invested. It is one of the clearest signs that you are not standing still, that you are moving, striving, reaching for something greater than where you are today. Think about it. No one grows while resting in comfort. Muscles only strengthen when they are challenged. Minds only expand when they are stretched. And character only develops when it is tested. The presence of fatigue means you are placing demands upon yourself that go beyond the ordinary, beyond the easy, beyond the safe, and that is where progress lives. When you feel tired, it is evidence that you have been pouring yourself into the task. Every ounce of strength, every drop of focus, every bit of energy you've given has left a mark. The tiredness you feel is not meaningless. It is a reflection of the work you have already done. Without effort, there is no exhaustion. Without pursuit, there is no fatigue. The very fact that you feel weary means you are in the arena of progress, not sitting on the sideline. This is why you must never mistake tiredness for weakness. It is not a signal that you are failing. It is a reminder that you are working. Think of a farmer in the field, bent over in the heat of the sun. His hands ache, his back is sore, his body longs for rest. Yet that exhaustion is the proof that seeds have been planted, that effort has been given, and in time there will be a harvest. Without the tiredness of the farmer, there could be no fruit of the field. So it is with your life. The energy you spend today is not lost, it is invested in tomorrow's success. The truth is, most people are afraid of this feeling. They confuse the discomfort of fatigue with the idea that they are not capable, that perhaps the dream is too far, the challenge too great. But the wise understand that tiredness is not a verdict. It is a milestone. It marks the distance you have already traveled. It tells you that you are on the path, moving forward, making progress, shaping results. The road to any victory will demand a price, and the price will always include weariness. You cannot expect to achieve greatness without first carrying its weight. And yet, tiredness does not last forever. The body recovers, the mind regains clarity, the spirit renews itself. But the fruits of your effort, those remain. A night of sleep can erase the feeling of fatigue, but the progress you've made through that fatigue does not disappear. Every step taken while tired, every task completed while weary, carries a value far beyond the moment of discomfort. It is those moments, when you push through the heaviness, that truly shape who you are becoming. So when you feel tired, do not despair, do not retreat. Instead, recognize it for what it is: proof. Proof that you are in the process of building something worthwhile. Proof that you have chosen the harder road, the one that demands sacrifice and rewards persistence. Proof that you are pouring life into your dream rather than letting it remain only an idea. Tiredness is not the enemy of success. It is the evidence that you are paying the price for it. Tiredness is not the enemy of success. It is the evidence that you are paying the price for it. In the end, the choice belongs to you. You can let the weight of exhaustion convince you to stop, or you can see it as the confirmation that your effort matters. If you are tired, it means you are alive in the pursuit. It means you are investing in your growth. It means the victory you seek is already being written by the work you've poured out. And one day, when you look back, the tiredness you feel now will be remembered as the proof that you never wasted your time. You spent it building something extraordinary. Tiredness is proof that effort is being invested. It is one of the clearest signs that you are not standing still, that you are moving, striving, reaching for something greater than where you are today. Think about it. No one grows while resting in comfort. Muscles only strengthen when they are challenged. Minds only expand when they are stretched. And character only develops when it is tested. The presence of fatigue means you are placing demands upon yourself that go beyond the ordinary, beyond the easy, beyond the safe. And that is where progress lives. When you feel tired, it is evidence that you have been pouring yourself into the task. Every ounce of strength, every drop of focus, every bit of energy you've given has left a mark. The tiredness you feel is not meaningless. It is a reflection of the work you have already done. Without effort, there is no exhaustion. Without pursuit, there is no fatigue. The very fact that you feel weary means you are in the arena of progress, not sitting on the sideline. This is why you must never mistake tiredness for weakness. It is not a signal that you are failing. It is a reminder that you are working. Think of a farmer in the field, bent over in the heat of the sun. His hands ache, his back is sore, his body longs for rest. Yet that exhaustion is the proof that seeds have been planted, that effort has been given, and in time there will be a harvest. Without the tiredness of the farmer, there could be no fruit of the field. So it is with your life. The energy you spend today is not lost. It is invested in tomorrow's success. The truth is, most people are afraid of this feeling. They confuse the discomfort of fatigue with the idea that they are not capable, that perhaps the dream is too far, the challenge too great. But the wise understand that tiredness is not a verdict, it is a milestone. It marks the distance you have already traveled. It tells you that you are on the path, moving forward, making progress, shaping results. The road to any victory will demand a price, and the price will always include weariness. You cannot expect to achieve greatness without first carrying its weight. And yet tiredness does not last forever. The body recovers, the mind regains clarity, the spirit renews itself. But the fruits of your effort, those remain. A night of sleep can erase the feeling of fatigue, but the progress you've made through that fatigue does not disappear. Every step taken while tired, every task completed while weary, carries a value far beyond the moment of discomfort. It is those moments, when you push through the heaviness, that truly shape who you are becoming. So when you feel tired, do not despair, do not retreat. Instead, recognize it for what it is: proof. Proof that you are in the process of building something worthwhile. Proof that you have chosen the harder road, the one that demands sacrifice and rewards persistence. Proof that you are pouring life into your dream rather than letting it remain only an idea. Tiredness is not the enemy of success. It is the evidence that you are paying the price for it. In the end, the choice belongs to you. You can let the weight of exhaustion convince you to stop, or you can see it as the confirmation that your effort matters. If you are tired, it means you are alive in the pursuit. It means you are investing in your growth. It means the victory you seek is already being written by the work you've poured out. And one day, when you look back, the tiredness you feel now will be remembered as the proof that you never wasted your time. You spent it building something extraordinary. Victory belongs to those who push beyond exhaustion. That is the truth many fail to see. When the body grows heavy, when the mind whispers to stop, when every part of you pleads for rest, that is the very moment that defines who you are and what you will become. Anyone can move forward when energy is abundant, when the sun is shining, and when the path is smooth. But only the rare few continue when everything in them says, enough. These rare few discover that exhaustion is not a wall, but a doorway. Beyond that doorway lies the place where ordinary effort ends and extraordinary achievement begins. The feeling of being tired is not the signal of defeat. It is evidence that progress has been made. A runner does not feel fatigue at the start of the race. The strain comes only after miles have been conquered. The student does not feel weary after opening the first page, but after hours of study and concentration. The entrepreneur does not collapse from effort on the first day of work, but after countless nights of building, sacrificing, and striving. Tiredness is the proof of engagement. It means you are not idle. It means you are in the fight. And those who are in the fight and refuse to leave it claim the rewards that the world reserves only for the persistent. Many people misunderstand victory. They imagine it as a gift given to the most talented, the luckiest, or the most privileged. But life has never operated by those rules. Victory does not go to the one who had the easiest start, but to the one who simply refused to quit when things became unbearable. Fatigue becomes the dividing line. On one side are the many who quit when they grow weary. On the other side are the few who continue despite their weariness. And it is those few who step into a level of success that forever separates them from the crowd. To push beyond exhaustion is to prove something to yourself. It is to discover that your limits are not where you thought they were. The human body, the human mind, the human spirit, they are capable of more than we ever imagine, but that capacity is revealed only under pressure. Only when we are stretched, only when we are tested, only when every fiber screams stop, do we learn that another step is possible, another breath can be taken, another mountain can be climbed. In this way, fatigue becomes the teacher and victory becomes the lesson. Consider how history remembers its heroes. They were not spared hardship. They were not given the easy path. They faced exhaustion, despair, and moments of absolute weakness. Yet in those very moments, they made the decision to move forward anyway. That is why their names are remembered, why their achievements echo through time. It is not because they never felt tired, but because they chose to rise when they were tired. So when you feel exhausted, do not mistake it as the end. See it for what it truly is, the final test. It is life asking you, do you want this badly enough? If you stop, you have your answer. If you continue, you prove to yourself and the world that nothing, not even fatigue, can hold you back. And in that persistence, victory reveals itself. Because victory belongs to those who push beyond exhaustion and no one else.